Hello you lot, how's it going? I've got an array of batteries and connectors and whatnot else on the bench because, well, I was having a look around, and today I'm going to go and have a little blast around. Got to go down to the stable and I've got to fix my dad's lawnmower. He's got a ride-on lawnmower, one of those Atco lawnmowers. Ride on, and I had to fix it, get it running and stuff for him. And who fixed the mower deck. Anyway, that's regardless, that's not the point. We're going to go down there. I normally take an RC car. Now, I can't take a Nitro car because of the horses. It'll scare the horses. So we take electric cars. Another reason why I've got a couple of electric cars. So when we go down the stable, we've got all that yard, and we can use the electric cars on there because they're not noisy. And I was just getting the batteries out, charging them up for the kids' cars because they use these batteries. I use a lipos in mine and the kids use these ones. I've got these two batteries here, which I originally bought for my starter box. But now my starter box I use a 12 volt lead acid battery in. So I don't really need these two batteries for the starter box anymore. So I'm going to put the XT60s on the end, just like these batteries, so that it can be used in the car. Happy days, man, happy days. The old soldering iron is warming up. Lovely job. It don't take long at all. It takes about 10 seconds that iron to warm up. That is a brilliant iron. Bought them from an old factory. They must be more than 20 years old. Bought them from an old factory. I've got two of them, two different types, but definitely been abused on the outside, but they're brilliant irons. Anyway, bit of flux, bit of lead solder, not lead free. Don't use bloody lead free solder, you want lead solder. And away we go. Right, the thing is, because I use so many for batteries, I've got loads of females left, but I'm running out of males. I've got one male there, one male there. I've got two, I've got enough. While I'm at it, I might, if I've got enough male connectors, stick one on this battery, and then we'll convert the mini stocks, the Mardave, to XT60 as well, so we've not got the stupid Tamiya connection on there. And that way, well, then I don't really need to, because it's not as if I can use these batteries on there, is it? So I've only got the one battery, so I don't know, I probably won't waste a connector until I get more batteries. But anyway, that's what we're up to today. Now, a little tip from me to you is, whenever you're doing batteries, and this is a learn from experience, you lot. Now, I learned from experience, a lot of people, they just cut the both end off, separate the two wires, and then just deal with it. But I always like to do, it doesn't matter if you do negative or the positive first, but leave one end connected to the old connector, because then there's no way that wire can touch this wire. Solder that wire on, yeah, the one you've cut, and then you can cut this wire off, prepare it, and do that. That way there's no danger at all that the two wires, the two bare ends, can flap around and touch each other, because obviously if you just cut both ends like that, you've then got two bare wires, yeah, here and here. Imagine this connector's gone, it's been cut off, you've got two bare wires flapping around, they could touch each other. Now with a battery, it's not the end of the world, but if you care about your battery, you can damage your battery if the two wires touch. You might get a little bit of a spark and you think, oh, that's alright, it's gone now. But you can decrease the life of it, you can damage it, blah, blah, blah. If it's just an old battery you don't really care about, fair enough, do whatever you want. But if it's a new battery that you're changing the connector on, that's just something that I like to do. You prevent any touchage of the two wires that way by doing one and then doing the other. Just something I've learned from experience, because I used to just cut them like that. Then they'd be touching, flapping, sparking. I'd be moving them back around there, putting something heavy on it, messing around with that one. That would come loose, flat, and put it back again. And before you know it, your battery, you think, that battery used to be really good. Why is it so bad now? And then you think to yourself, oh, it must be because they kept touching when I was doing the connector. Anyway, let's get back onto it. Flux. Quite easy to mess around and do. Some people don't bother doing it, but where's the other one? There it is. I was looking for my other connector. I've already put it in the vise. I like to put them in a vise. You don't have to. You can put them anywhere you want. Hold them if you want to, you know. But since I've got these little vices, I'll stick one here in the vise. Stick it with the one that I want to do at the top because it's easier. and then just cut it off. As I say, you ain't got to do the positive first, but it's just the way I've just chosen to do it for no particular real reason. Cut off decent amount there, like that. Do it a few times, squeeze very gently, and then pull it off like that. Easy to do. You twist it as much as you can. You can, if you want, put a little blob of solder on the end of the wires there. Stops them fraying out after you've twisted them. But I don't always bother. You get your flux. Flux is handy. You can solder it without flux. You ain't got to go out and buy flux. But it's handy to have a bit of flux because it helps the solder to flow. In any soldering, circuit board work, any work you do, helps the solder to flow. So just dip it in there. You get a little blob of flux on the end there. You only need a little bit. That's all you need. You don't need a huge amount. And then you just jam that in the end of the connection there. Get that up there like that and zoomerage you in so you can actually see. There we go. Jam that in the end of the connection there. Get your solder. Make sure you've got enough. Yeah, you've got enough, more than enough for what you're going to do here. Get your iron. And make sure it's clean enough on the end. You can have a little bit of dirt on there, but you don't want too much. Heat it up first, heat the wire up a little bit first, and then just jam the old solder in there. And didn't have enough flux on there really. Could have done with a little bit more flux, but that's alright. Jam that in there. There we go. Could have done with a little bit more flux on there, but that's alright. Now make sure your soldering iron is clean. Now, excuse me. Bloody hell. I've just got a pair of my son's, oh bollocks, I forgot to put the heat shrink on there. Don't forget to put the heat shrink on there, like what I just done. I'm going to have to unsolder that now. Anyway, make sure you keep your soldering iron clean. See, it's gone a little bit dirty there now. So, I've got a pair of my son's old trousers. He's grown out of them, so rather than put them in the bin, nobody else wants them, so rather than put them in the bin, I always use them as rag and stuff in the garage. So you can get it like that, yeah, and just get your iron and do that. See, it cleans it off nicely. You might have to do it a couple of times. There you go. And there you go, you've got a nice clean tip there now. Now you have to excuse me, because in my hastily rush to do that, I forgot to put heat shrink on. Now that, I've gone against my own tip, my own advice. And my own advice is normally put the bloody heat shrink on the minute you cut the wire, because then you don't forget it. But I didn't do that, so that means I've now got to desolder it, stick the heat shrink over there without it shrinking as it goes past. You could probably get a little bit more flux. Now we've got solder on the wires, they're not going to unravel. Put that back in there and re-solder it back on again. I should be able to, with a little bit of heat on there, we should be able to get that nice and hot and that melt. There you go, that solder melts. There we go. Now that's on there, I'll just stick a tiny little bit extra on the top there just to make sure that definitely stays nice like that. Happy days. I don't know how much is that you could have saw. There you go. I've got my handy little blowtorch here. This is a lighter. Got this in the market years ago. When I was a teenager, used to be able to go down the local market and there was a whole stall sold tobacco tins, lighters, tobacco filters, the lot. I never smoked, but I used to love lighters, and I bought this one in there. Very handy. In fact, I used to collect lighters. I've got tins of them. Loads and loads of lighters when I was about 12 or 13. Younger than that even. And I used to collect lighters. These little blowtorch ones, very handy for doing your heat shrink. Happy days. So there we go, got a nice positive connection there now. That's what we like, positive ones. The sad ones, you know, the happy cable's good. The sad cables, they're alright, you know, sad cable's alright. We can deal with a sad cable. You have to give the sad cable a little bit more attention because, you know, sad people are the same as sad cables. The negative cable is I've got to listen out for the postman. I thought there was a postman outside. I thought I was talking too much and I thought the postman was out there. I've got to send off a parcel and I thought that was the postman. Anyway, so give the sad negative cables a little bit more of attention there. Get the flux right there. Probably a little bit too much flux on that one, to be honest. A little bit too much flux, but that's alright. We can deal with too much. Just means you'll have a bit of extra puffage. Like that. See, look, loads of puffage. Loads of solder. That's well and truly soldered on now. Happy days. Right. Put that heat shrink over there. Make sure it goes right to the end. Always make sure I see some people solder, and when they put the heat shrink on, they leave a gap. I can't really see the screen's at it on this camera. They leave a gap so you can see some joint there. Things could touch that. So make sure the heat shrink always goes right up in there, right to the end, so that way there's no danger of anything touching that. Happy days. There we go, one battery converted. It's supposed to, bloody Jesus, a bit zoomed in there, wasn't it? God, it's supposed to be getting cold this week. It's been, so Christmas Day was like 13 and a half degrees. Christmas Day was mad, and it's been like that for a while now. Nice and sort of nice warm temperature. It's supposed to get cold now though, and I must admit, part of me does kind of wish that I had a home that was big enough where I had like a spare room, or at least a living room or something where I had enough space where I could fit the chargers and stuff like that, and maybe a few cars indoors, so that I could happily, you know, charge batteries indoors in the warm and not have to come out here, and because obviously I have to watch them, so that means I have to stay out here while they're charging. I know some of you lot probably like, oh, what are you on about? Stop being a bloody job's worth. You can set them on charge and go off indoors and come out and check on them in an hour's time. I don't, you know, I like to watch them, and not only that, I know when one's charged. If I go indoors, I won't hear if one's charged, so I could be waiting, and then that one could be charged, and I could be putting another one on charge, couldn't I? I'm wasting time if I don't know. So yeah, anyway, I've got my LiPo on charge there. That's for my flux, Savage flux, and these ones are going to go in the Bugster today. I think we'll only take 2. I might take 3 for her, but I'll just take 2, I think. Yeah, let's pack all this away. I don't need to do any more soldering today. Don't think I do anyway. I've been, I had a little bit of money left over because I sold a few more things. I had a couple of these different ones that I didn't really want anymore, so I sold them, and I had a little bit of money. So I bought myself a battery pack to go in here, and I had a look on the shelf, and I got a few more of these charge switches that were sent from a lovely member and subscriber, obviously Alistair, a while back now. So I'm going to put a charge switch on here. They're probably not capable of 7.4 volts or whatever. The receiver is. Whether these servos are capable of 7 volts, I ain't got a clue, but I'm going to find out, obviously. They blow up, they blow up. I know the receiver's capable of it, so that's all that matters. Whether these switches will melt, no idea. Probably will, but we're going to try it out. The worst that can happen is this won't work. So then if that happens, I'll just have to get a switch which is capable. But that's alright for now. This switch which is on here isn't a charge switch, it's just an ordinary switch. So I'll switch one of these over so I can charge my battery up without messing around taking screws out and things like that. I don't know why no manufacturer ever makes it easy. The only one that does is the Kyosho. The MP9 now, that Kyosho, it's just got an R-clip you pull out, you flip a door open and you can get to your battery connection so you can charge up your battery. But on all the other ones, you've got screws everywhere and you've got screws in here. 4 screws holding that down. So if you want to charge your battery, you've got to take all the screws out and then you can get to your battery. They never make it easy, do they? They should just have it just so you can just open up a door, do something, and you can get to your battery. And that way you haven't got to put one of these switches on, have you? But there we go. I'll probably put that on in a minute. I can feel my fingers again. While we're waiting for the batteries to charge and other bits and bobs, let's have a look at this other thing what GT Power sent me. Now, this has got a box amongst all the other bits and bobs. Here's the box. Oh, there's a little instruction book as well there. I've forgotten about that. So let's put that there and put that there. Right. Yeah, so it's like a... I thought this was like a... I was looking at it and I was like, what's this? But it's actually really cool. So what it is, it's basically like a big fan. Well, it's a little fan, but it's got quite a lot of power in it. And I'm quite impressed with it. So it's got a high-speed brushless motor, 4-gear wind speed, 4 hours endurance, compact size metal tech design, noise reduction design, emergency lighting design. Really? Where's the emergency lighting then? Don't know. Anyway, so it sucks in the air through there, and you can either have this little director nozzle thing, which is rubber. You can have it on there, or you can unscrew it. You got your on button on the bottom there. You got your charging port there. They give you a charging cable for it, by the way. And you got 4 different settings for how much wind you want, and you hold that down like that, and all them light up. There you go. Now you're ready to press the button. It's pretty actually, what's the word? Powerful. Probably might lift that up. Oh, that one's now full. So it is pretty powerful. That's pretty handy, man. You know, you can clean up blow your dust off your bench. You can do all sorts with it. I like that. That is pretty good. You know, if it's in the summer, you can cool yourself down. You take this off, and it's just like a I just haven't got it on there anymore. And when it comes to RC, you can. Oh my god! I pressed the button by mistake. There you go. You can see the little fan in there. Look. And if you want a bit less wind, all you got to do is press that button and you get a little bit less. And if you press that button again, you get a little bit less. And if you press that button again, you get even less. If you press it again, it goes back to full. Alright, that's quite handy. That's a nifty little thing, that is. 10,000 RPM apparently. I like that. Oh my god. Leans on the button. Yeah, very good. Yeah, go and get one if you want one. Right, you lot. Let's have a look at this. So we've got these charge switches here, right? And this, you can test a normal switch, and we also test it to see which end is the charging, because sometimes you might not realise. So what you've got to do is get your multimeter out, and you set it on continuity, which is there. And all you got to do is you take the end. This is the end that your battery goes in. You know that because it's a female. The male goes inside a female. So you got to just stick your probe. And they're not all tangled up. Bloody Jesus, man. Stick your probe on one of them connections, positive or negative, probably positive, and then you stick the other one on there. Why haven't we got buzzage? We should have. There you go. Now we should have it. It's come off. There you go. For you lot to hear and see. So now we've got continuity on there. And if we switch the switch, it should now go to no continuity. We've got nothing. Because we switched the switch. If we go to the other side, we've still got continuity. Switch it the other way. No continuity. Right? Nothing. But over this side we have. Right? So, that's how you know if a switch is any good. Because you'd either have no continuity with the switch in either position, or you'd have an open circuit, so you'd have continuity on both positions. And really you can use either one of these to charge, either one of these little ports, either one of them to charge. One of them will go in your receiver, that one goes, your battery goes in that end, one of them goes in your receiver, and the other one is reserved because that's what you charge with. So when you flick the switch to off, you still have your continuity and you'll be able to charge, because all it does in the little switch there, it moves it. So when you got the switch on, it moves the power from your battery, is able to go up and then out down to your receiver. But when you got the switch off, it diverts the electric, the power from the battery goes boop. Oh, can't go nowhere because you can't come out there now because you've flicked the switch. But the electric can come from your charger into your switch and then go oh, wrong one, down at your battery. So that's how you check to see if your switch is any good. Now the reason I wanted to check that was because I'm putting this switch on here. Got a brand new battery here, right? And it keeps going open circuit. Not good. Brand spanking new Overlander battery and it keeps going open circuit. According to that charger anyway. Literally that is not any good at all, man. Brand new battery. But I bought it from Wheelspin Models, so hopefully they'll change it for me. But I don't know why it keeps going open circuit. Anyway, the reason why I wanted to check that was because I got this switch on the shelf. And I thought to myself, because I like to keep stuff that's broken. I don't know why. If something's broken, I take it off of a car. I put it on the shelf. Just to keep it just in case. Because there might be another one that's more broken than the one I've just taken off. Anyway, and I couldn't remember to myself, did this switch actually even work? That's why I wanted to test it. I thought I'd show you lot, because sometimes you might have an issue with your car and it might not turn on. At least now you can test your switch to see if your switch is working. Of course, if you haven't got a multimeter and you want to see if your switch is the problem, just eliminate the switch altogether and just plug the battery directly into the receiver, and then you'll know if the switch is the problem or if there's a problem further down the line. But you know what I'm trying to say, there's many ways to skin a cat and there's many ways to check stuff on your RC cars. Anyway, I'm going to try and work out why this battery keeps going bloody open circuit. Right, well so far it seems to be alright. It would only go to 78% or 74% charge before, and then it would go open circuit, that little battery. Brand spanking new, literally just turned up in the post. Don't know what that's all about. But I've changed, it was this balance thing I had on it. I changed it for that balance thing. So now maybe this is the problem. Don't know. But so far it's been charging for another nearly 17 minutes. And so far, fingers crossed, we're alright. But I've been playing around with the old Buggy. There's the old Buggy, look. I've got the receiver in there now, all done. I've got all that there. I'm not going to keep this switch, I don't think. What I'm going to get is a proper switch. I'll get a proper switch for it, the ones that, you know, you'd usually see or whatever. I know a lot of these people, you're all going to be going, look, racers, they don't mess around with switches, we just plug it directly in, and don't mess around with switches, and we have this switch, not that stupid switch. I don't care, because I'm not racing, am I? I really don't give an uncle's monkey. The word racing gets on my tits a lot of the time, because people use that word, makes people think that they're special, then when they're not, you know. But this, I don't give an uncle's monkey what this buggy is. I like it, that's why I've got it. Don't care that it's meant for doing racing things, you know, actually on the track. So I've got this switch on there, probably come out of an FTX Carnage, to be honest. I don't know where it came from. But anyway, I got that on there. I've got my little charging thing there if I did want to use it. But because I've got a LiPo battery in here for the receiver, I'm going to have to take this cover off anyway to charge the receiver battery, because I've got to get to the balancing port and the balancing plug. So I'm probably just going to end up just taking the battery out to charge it anyway. So having the charge switch on it is pretty pointless. But, you know, this switch was better. It was better, I think, than the one I did have on it. The one I did have on it was a bit dicky sometimes. It just didn't feel right. So I wanted to change the switch for a switch that just feels better anyway. So there we go, that's what we've got. When the battery is eventually charged, I'll stick it in here, I'll plug it in, and we'll see whether these servos are going to hold up to 7.4 volts. They may do, they may not do. If they don't, I'll just get better servos. But there we go. That's where we're at so far, my friends. Lovely jubbly. I can't wait to go and take this buggy out for a blast. I really can't. I've had it all this time. It's a bit bent, that, isn't it? Look at that, it's a bit crooked. I wonder why that is. I think something's broke on it. Anyway, I've had it all this time and I've not driven it. I put the Nova B3 in it. I've finally got radio gear for it. Radio gear was the thing that was really holding me up. Managed to get all the throttle linkages and everything. That servo horn, I know some of you are going to spot that and go, what the hell is that? That's just one, I didn't have any. And the servo horns for this, like, well, not for this, but a decent servo horn, you're looking at 25 quid. And I can't afford 25 quid for a bloody servo horn. So I got this for like £1.50 on eBay. Definitely come from China, but it'll do the job for now. I might have to adjust where the linkage attaches. In the summer, when hopefully I've earned a little bit more dollar and I've got a little bit more to spare, I'll get a proper servo horn, an actual branded proper servo horn. And I'll put that on there, probably with some better servos as well, and actual screws that actually are supposed to go in there. And what I also need is the tray, because the person that had this before me, he's a racer for S-Works, I believe he was anyway, and the whole buggy itself has had a bit of a beating, to be honest. It's had a life on a racetrack, so what do you expect? All of the screws, all of the threads on the bottom of the battery and receiver tray, they're all stripped out. Literally, there's no threads left in them. So what I could put bigger screws in, and then they'd grab on them, and then I could do it that way, or I could just get a new tray. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but that's a job for the summer. I just want to have a go of it, you know what I mean? The battery trays for these and the receiver tray, they're quite expensive, so I can't just be splashing out and getting one just yet until I really need to, but I will be doing that at some point, hopefully, in the summer. I'll tell you what I need you not to start watching my videos more, so I can earn a bit more dollar, and that way I can go and get a new battery tray. And I might even better afford a piece of land to make a track on in about 60 years time probably. But we'll get there eventually. Anyway, I'll wait for my battery to charge up and I'll stick it in here, and then we'll fire the whole lot up, and then we'll see how it goes. And hopefully, I mean, today's Saturday, I'm hoping maybe tomorrow morning, something like that, I might better go and give this an actual go, and actually drive it, which will be just a miracle really. Right. So we know that them servos aren't capable of 7.4 volts. I literally plugged it in, turned the steering right, and it went, and that was that. And now it stinks in here. Oh well, that was short-lived. Need to get new servos. Okay, that's what I'll do then. I have to get new servos. Oh well, it'll be a couple more months before we see this in action. Never mind. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely day. And I'll see you on the next one. Cheerio. Remember, please, I'm actually asking you now, subscribe watch the videos, subscribe, and if you feel like it, become a member, and eventually I better buy some new servos and actually drive that buggy. Thanks very much. Cheerio! I'm going to go and have something to eat because I'm absolutely starving, man. Absolutely starving. Can you believe the time? It's 11 o'clock in the morning and I ain't had nothing to eat yet. That's not like me at all.